Okay, so welcome everyone. This is week 11, and we're doing our continuation. This is the fall 2020 Premier Chess Adult Beginner class, and we're doing a continuation of analysis of the Queen's Gambit Netflix series games because it's just an awesome series. So, and I got to give credit to Nancy for being the first one ever to tell me about it before anyone else did. Got a barrage of people telling me about it, but I know I'll always remember Nancy was the first one.
Great.
Yeah, cool. Amazing how it blew up. So, all right. So, in this position, um, Beth Harmon is black and Towns is white. And so, what's black's best move here? And oh, yeah. So just for context, the white pawns are coming down this way. All right. Um, and in this position, okay, I'll tell you the quote after we do it, after we solve this. So, what do you think? Black's best move is here.
Maybe knight to b3.
Knight to b3 check. Okay. Maybe he comes here, attacks the knight.
Then the rook could, like, I was thinking the rook can threaten on the e line and the c line.
So okay. So move the rook to where? Here or here?
And then I guess you just end up chasing it around. Okay.
Well, no, you can't. You shouldn't move the rook because it doesn't matter where you move it. The king will just capture the knight. So you lose your knight. Yeah. So you don't want to do that. So what do you think? Better than that? Oh, let me turn on my video. There you go. You guys want a hint?
King G7.
King G7. Okay. So before I do King G7, so remember every puzzle you do, first we scan the whole board, right? Do all the scanning of material, position, what's it called? Unprotected pieces, right? We always scan the board. So here we can see that it's black to move. So white only has one piece, right? And that's the h6 rook, right, which is unprotected. So maybe something has to do with that. And then when we think about what move, the first thing we look for is checks, right? So you always look for checks first. So knight f3, knight b3 check, but they don't really accomplish much, and they give white a lot of or sorry, not here. They give white a lot of opportunity for options. So we don't want to do that. So yeah, so we have to not give white that much opportunity. So yeah, king g7 is attacking move, right? Attacking the rook. So now where is the best place? Now what should we do now as white? What's the best move for white here?
Well, he's going to have to decide which pawn he wants to guard.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think?
Would it be wise for him to threaten the knight?
Okay, so what square?
I mean, if the rook moved to h4, then the knight is forced to move.
Well, first of all, the knights, it's not being threatened because it's protected by the rook, right?
Oh
That's
gosh,
that's the
yeah.
first thing. But there's another reason why rook h5 is not a good move. Why? Can you see why?
The knight fork.
On where?
Oh,
Knight f3.
Knight f3, yes. Knight fork.
Fork.
Got to be careful with these knight forks. So
Okay.
this knight is centrally located, very beautifully placed to move anywhere, and it's covering all of these squares. So it's a really nice location for the knight. So we got to watch out for all these knight forks. Now, is there any other safe square for the rook? What do you think?
So if you had to move the rook and there were just no options for that, then the only safe square would be looks like h5. Is there another safe square?
Yes, h5 is the only safe square. Sorry. H5 right here. Good. So now, what is the best move now? Any idea? You guys want a hint?
Yes.
Knight g6.
So, say again?
King g6.
King g6. Excellent. Yes. Why is king g6 the winning move? King g6 is the winning move.
The rook's kind of out of places to go.
Yeah, rook is running out of places to go. Right. So this king does a nice job of protecting all these. h8 is covered by the rook. We just said h4 is impossible due to this fork. So now that leaves everything along the fifth rank, right? So this is covered by the king. And what's wrong with e4? E5. What's wrong with e5?
Knight f3 takes.
Yep,
another
knight
fork.
f3 is still a fork, right? And what's wrong with d5 covered by the rook? What's wrong with c5?
Still a knight fork.
Where?
Knight f3.
No, f3 is over here. So
Wrong side. Sorry.
yeah. So what's wrong with c5? Rook c5.
Knight b3.
Knight b3. Yes, knight fork this way. This knight is very powerful in the center. And b5 covered by the knight. And for the very same reason, a5, knight fork again, picking up the rook. So you can see how powerful this centralized knight is right here, covering all of these squares with the threat of knight fork. And that leads to a trapped rook with no squares to go. And does anybody remember, I'll give you some trivia, anybody remember the line that Towns said in the scene when this game happened?
Mm.
He said, Beth, you're humiliating my rook. That was a pretty good line. You're humiliating my rook. So it's a very humiliated rook right now. Trapped. I mean, at first glance, it's like, how can this rook be trapped? He's got all these squares that he can move to, right? But once you look, you can see how none of them are viable. None of them are viable. So,
Danilo, just curious, why did you rule out the white king moving to E1?
king to E1. Where at this point? Because right now it's
No,
it's-
before
which-
before you,
where?
when you had all the arrows up there, you said, "Oh, not that one."
Wait. So,
E1 for the white king.
but when would he move to E1?
Well, not that it was a good move, but you just seemed to rule it out as an option.
So here it was black's move, king G7. So you can't go king E1. You don't have time, right? You just lose your rook. So the whole time black is attacking the white rook, right? King G7, rook moves to H5, king G6. So king doesn't have time to go to E1, right?
Okay.
Yeah, there's no time. And anyway, king E1 wouldn't really be good. You still be vulnerable to these checks. So if anything, king D1 would be best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If anything, that would be the best. So yeah, so knight forks, very powerful when used correctly. All right, good. So let's go on to the next one. So this is actually a real game that well, first of all, in the series, this was the game between Harman and Beltic. I think when she played in the Kentucky Championships, and then she eventually won that. That was her first tournament, I think, in the series, and she played Beltic at the end, and she beat him. And so this game was a real game in history, played by Nezhmedinov and Kasparian. Nezhmedinov is he was considered like Mikhail Tal, which is very sacrificial, very brilliant attacks. And then Kasparian was he was a very famous chess composer. He composed many chess puzzles, but he also played as well. So yeah. So this is they took this game and they inserted it into the series. It's a very good game. So let's just go through the entire game here. E4. So Harman would be white and Beltic is black. All right. So this is anybody know the name of this opening? This formation? C6 and D5. Anybody know? This is called the Caro-Kann defense. Caro-Kann defense. And what about if black went E6 and then D5? What's the name of this opening? Anybody know? This is called the French defense. French defense, only played by the French, and you have to have a restaurant of over 4 stars to play. Have you seen that? Have you seen anybody see Robin Williams stand up comedy? Anybody? Okay, so he had a great I remember one of his jokes. He says if the French had a bomb, it would and they would drop it on a country, it would only destroy restaurants under 5 stars. I thought that was hilarious. So yeah.
Is this French defense a good all-purpose kind of defense?
It's pretty versatile. I personally don't play it as black, but and also I never encounter it because I never play E4. But a lot of people like it. And it's pretty popular. It's a very standard opening. Usually let's say, capture here. And now this is very symmetrical game, right? Usually French defense, let's say happens E4, E6, and then D4, because here with E6, black is not challenging white center at all, right? So white is free to push the other pawn forward. And now, so this is the usual French defense formation with the pawns on D4 and E4. And now white has several options. You can defend the pawn, knight C3. You can go defend the pawn, bishop D3. or you can, of course, capture. It leads to very symmetrical positions, or you can go the what's called the advanced variation, and white pushes up. So now white's going to have a pawn chain pointing that way. So probably the see all the pieces are aiming towards the king side. So that's probably where he's going to focus his attack, and black's pawn formation is focused on the queen side. So everybody familiar with this principle that wherever your pawns are pointing, that's where you should focus your attack. Did I mention that before at all? Okay. So
I
yeah,
don't think so.
so that's a good principle to keep in mind. If you're ever confused as to where you should attack your opponent, you should always attack in the area of the board where you have the most control, right? So in this situation already, we can see that once c3 is played, we're going to have this pawn formation, and white controls much more of the king side, and so it would be more advantageous for white to focus on the king side, and more advantageous for black to focus on the queen side, right? So let's say play might continue, e5. So now here's a little pawn chain. So what do we say about pawn chains? Where's the weakest point of the pawn chain?
The end,
The base.
the base.
The base, right? So here, this is a tiny pawn chain, right? So the base would be d4. So immediately you strike at the base. c5 would be a really good move. Strike at the base, and if he takes, that's really good for black, because now look how lonely this pawn is. I mean, you can push f4 to give it some protection as well, but then you're opening up your king. So this pawn becomes very isolated, even though there's another pawn. It's advanced and it's not protected by another pawn, so it gets very weak. And also it gives the bishop a chance to develop with tempo by recapturing the piece. So yeah, c5 strikes at the base. So it's considered not good to capture this pawn, because in general the center pawns are more valuable than these side pawns anyway, so you don't want to capture. So typically most people would push c3, and now you can see this nice pawn chain focused on or pointing towards the king side. And now maybe play might continue like this, something like this, maybe takes, and now we've established that this d4 pawn is the base, and so it would be good to focus our attack on the base, right? Because there's no more pawn that can defend this d4 pawn, right? So now all white can use are his pieces to defend this pawn. So that's why we could bring the knight e7, f5, focus our attack here. We could bring the queen to b6, focus our attack here, right? So we can do all these things and really try to put pressure on the pawn, right? Because it's immobile, right? So everybody see that? That makes sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Little sidetrack there. Opening theory. All right. So that's the French defense. So in this game, we see the Caro-Kann defense. All right. So, okay, knight c3. Okay. So here we see usually, I mean, d4 would be expected. So it almost seems like white is it's like tempting black into pushing d4 to pushing d4, attacking the knight at the same time, gaining space. But black never does that, right? So e6. So actually, you know what? This is a good example of you see here the pawns are all on their light squares, right? And so have I mentioned the idea of a good bishop versus a bad bishop? Have I mentioned that before? Okay. So if this light squared bishop that was just traded right here, if this was still on c8 when black pushed e6, that would be considered a bad bishop. Why do you think? Anybody have an idea?
Very little place to move.
Yeah, so he went bishop g4. So let's say he did this instead of that. Let's say he did that. Now this is a bad bishop, right? Because you see light square bishop and all these light square pawns are basically blocking this bishop's mobility, right? So you don't want to do that. You don't want to block your own bishop's mobility. You want to increase your bishop's mobility and scope, right? So if you really want to play this e6 pawn move, so much better is to exit your bishop from the pawn chain before you close it with e6, right? You exit it, and then you want to trade it off even, and now you see, now these are all on light squares, but it doesn't matter because now all he has is a dark square bishop, and now this bishop's very happy moving around, right? No problems, right? So big difference between a good bishop and a bad bishop. So that's the definition of that. So okay, so now let's continue. So black decides to fianchetto his bishop, get his bishop on the long diagonal. Very good. Castle. So he's still he's still thinking about, it's like white is tempting him to push, but he's not doing it. Oh, there he finally does it. D4. Okay. So now he brought his knight back to B1. Why did he do that? Why do you think he brought it back to B1? Why didn't he bring it like to D1? What do you guys think? What's the reason of that? B1. It's a weird looking move, right? It's like the knight started on B1. Why would you bring it back to the home square? Right? Seems like a wasted move. So what do you think? Any ideas? So the reason is he wants to reroute the knight, right? So he realizes that if he brings the knight to D1, now the knight is completely blocked, right? Can't move to B2, can't move to F2, can't move to E3, can't move to C3, right? Completely blocked. So that's no good. So he brings the knight back to C1. Again, the knight is still blocked by D2. He can move to A3, it's true, but he also he pushes D3, and now I think he's expressing a desire to activate his knight D2 and then C4, and that's a nice outpost for the knight. So he's just rerouting his knight. Say he's rerouting his knight B1, D2, C4, the end goal, and perhaps adding A4 so that if he tries to kick him away with B5, trade, and now you have an open rook file to play with. So that's really good. So yeah, so that's the idea with knight B1. All right, so let's see. Okay, so now so you see here again. This is an example of you see where the pawns are facing, right? So white's pawns are facing towards the king side, so he has more space on the king side. So we definitely want to focus our energy there. And black's pawns are facing more on the queen side, so it would be more advantageous for black to focus on the queen side, right? So F5, F4, trying to open up the rook, right? Okay, A4 again, right? So it looks like he does this to prepare this knight migration to C4. Okay. Now he pushes to gain more space. All right, very nice. Okay, knight comes. Okay, both kings move out of the way. They're like, okay, something's gonna happen over here. Get out of the way. Takes. All right, so now we have what's this called when there's only one pawn? Only one pawn on the file. Anybody know what that's called? Half open file, right? This is a half open file. If there's no pawn, it would be just an open file, but one pawn, half open file. So this is a very nice position for the white rook, bearing down and putting pressure on F3. Okay, so now he changes ideas. So now he's like, maybe I don't want to come here. Maybe I want to come here, because now the king, maybe he wants to start attacking the king, right? So he goes to knight F3, immediately opens up an attack on the bishop, right? All right, let's continue. So trade of bishops. Okay. All right. So yeah, knight wants to join the attack on the king side. So yeah, so why did he do queen c8? What do you guys think? That's an interesting move. Looks kind of weird, right? Why would he do queen c8? What's the idea behind that?
Positions on a long diagonal.
Position the queen along the long diagonal. Okay, that is a good diagonal. But I think he's trying to prevent something. Do you see what he's trying to prevent by doing queen c8?
I think he wants to prevent queen g4.
Yeah, I think he wants to prevent queen g4, right? Because queen g4, if he can get queen g4 and now he's threatening to take on g6, and the queen's going to get into the game, and this king is going to be completely open. So black does not want that, and so black is feeling kind of cramped. White's very comfortable. He's got beautiful space here on the king side. Black's getting kind of cramped over here. So so what's the general rule when you're cramped? What is your goal basically when you're cramped? To uncramp yourself. What are you trying to do? Anybody remember? Did I mention this before? When you have less space, your goal is to trade as many pieces as possible, right? The person who has less space is more cramped. Wants to get rid of pieces, right? So you can think of it like you know 6 people living in a two-bedroom apartment, not so fun. 2 people, a little bit better, right? So yeah, black would love to trade queens with white. Yeah. Greg, you want to say something?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, so queen c8. Let's go on. Bishop f3. So now maybe he wants to bring his bishop, activate his bishop on g4, scare away the queen. So that looks like his goal with that. Queen e6, bishop g4. So now black quickly, before white gets in bishop g4, he quickly plays queen e6. Why do you think he quickly plays queen e6?
So the queen can move the other direction.
To where? What square? You mean square?
C4. No, the queen can't.
No, not here, not here.
No.
You're on the right track though. So remember, the white's trying to gather forces for a kingside attack, and the queen's over here on the queen side doing nothing, right? So if the queen was on the king side, very nice protection, right? So bring the queen here to bring it back, right? Very nice rerouting of the queen. So queen drops back to queen f7. Knight f3. What's that threatening? That's threatening something immediately. Anybody see the threat?
Maybe threatening the b3 knight.
Threatening the b3 knight here? No.
By moving d2.
No, that would just be a trade. No. White is threatening something very specific here. What do you think?
Knight takes e5.
Yes, knight takes e5. Why does that work? Everybody see that? before I move it? Everybody see why that works?
Mm-mm.
Knight takes e5. So why is that a good move? What if the f pawn takes the knight? Then what?
Then the rook can take the queen.
Exactly. So what do we say? The knight is immune to capture because what? Because the pawn is
Pinned.
pinned to the queen, right? Pinned to the queen by the rook. So
Mm.
immediately threatening knight takes e5. So he must move the queen again. Queen g8. Continue the attack. h4. King g7. King tries to run. Rook f2. So he's got to gather more power. Double the rooks. Double the rooks. Rook d6. He's trying to focus all of his pressure on f6. Double the rooks there. Right? Very nice. Black almost has nothing he can do. He's just sitting and waiting for white to deliver the death blow. Queen c2. Okay, b6, h5. Okay, c5. Takes. Uh-huh. So yeah, so black could take this knight here, but he chooses not to, and instead tries to gather some counterplay over here. In some cases, some people choose to do this. Like if you can take your opponent's pawn, but they choose not to, and they instead use the pawn as a shield, as protection. Some people choose to do that, but you got to be careful about that. Sometimes it doesn't always work. So d4 takes. Okay. Takes. Okay. So let's see. So we have, 3 and 1. Material still equal. Okay. Whoa. Exciting move here. Why did he do that? What was the reasoning behind that move? What is white threatening with that move?
Is it threatening with its rook?
Threatening to do what with the rook?
But I'm just seeing a take
Hmm.
situation. So if you were to remove the, yeah.
If-
I don't know.
Say
Yeah.
again? Do what?
Nah, never mind. Well, I don't know if it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you thinking about something with the pawn?
No, I was actually thinking of the rook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, this rook? Oh, the white rook.
Wait, right, white to move.
So,
But
oh,
if
no,
you,
no, no. Well, here is black to move, but what is white threatening to do with after?
oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's black to move here, but why did white push e5? What is white threatening to do on his next move?
Threatening to take the black pawn.
Yeah, definitely threatening here, forking king and knight. And would it be a good idea for black to capture the pawn? What do you think?
No.
Why?
Well, the white rook can take the black rook.
Oh yeah, definitely. And now this queen can escape, but it's just it's going to get very messy here. Yeah, going to get very messy. so yeah. Then here in this position, black is just down an entire rook. I mean, black could trade the queen for the rooks, and now
Mhm.
this isn't good either. Now we have maybe check, something like this, check, maybe here, and then the pawn, you get another queen.
Mhm.
So yeah, so yeah, black cannot take the pawn. Actually here, the bishop is hanging, right? So he could take the bishop, but then we'll just take his pawn, and he can take here, and then we'll just take back, and black will be up the white will be up the exchange. That's a possibility. Or we can do take the pawn, and now maybe the king. Where would the king move to? Maybe somewhere like that. And then the pawn takes here, and now this pawn is dangerously close to getting another queen, and the rook is being threatened. So yeah, maybe he can. I don't know what you're gonna do. Take here, take here. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, very winning position for white. Very good move. E5 is a very good move. So black chose to do none of those things we just mentioned. Instead, he pushed he pushed F5, right? So he did seems like a better move, right? So he prevented e takes F6, and he blocked the queen from protecting the G6 pawn, right? All right, so let's see what's happened here. So bishop takes F5, queen to D5. Wow. So now yeah, black is trying to get some counterplay, trying to maybe get his rook here, start attacking the white king, right? So let's see what happens. Bishop E6. Whoa. Powerful move. Looks like this bishop is free. And is it free? Probably not, because nothing in life is free. Queen takes E6. Rook takes, and now we're down the exchange. Yeah, so. And what if black decided to take the rook with check first? Now we take here, and now we can even do this. Oh, this is a very nice move. Queen takes, queen F6, take. Now we're forking the king and knight. Very nice. All these little. This is a very complex position. A very complex position. Very typical of these players of Nejmadinov. All right. So what happened here? So he didn't take the free bishop, of course, quote unquote free. He went rook h8 check. Now, what do you think the best move is for white here? After rook h8 check.
King to G2.
Well, we can't go to g2 because the queen.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's
So where else? King g1. Okay, is this a good move, everyone? What do you guys think?
It's the only option, right?
What do you guys think?
Queen H1 is mate.
Queen h1 is mate, or rook h1 is mate. And no, it is not the only option. So what's another option? What else can you do?
Can you?
What can white do? He can't move his king.
Bring the bishop down to h3 to block
Yes,
the rook.
that is the only other option. Bishop h3 to block the rook. Good. Yes, very important. Okay. All right. So next we have knight takes g6. And now rook f7 check. Okay. So now, where do you think the best? What do you think the best move is for black here? What do you think?
Move the king to h6.
King to h6. So why did you not say king to g8?
Well, it's not logical, but I thought g8, and then I decided on h6 because that was the second thought. So I went with my second thought.
Okay. Intuition. Okay. There's actually a very specific reason why king g8 is a horrible move. Why is that? Can anybody see it?
The king is pinned to the rook if the white rook moves to f8.
No, white rook would not move to f8 because knight would just take.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep,
So-
my error.
That's okay. So there's another reason why rook f7. Oh, sorry, king g8 is not a good move. What do you think?
Queen takes g6 checkmate.
Yeah, queen takes g6, mate.
Hmm.
Very big reason why that's not a good move. So can't get any worse than that. So king g7, and then best move is king h6. Now, this is the key position in the game, in the series where they showed Harman and Beltic, and this is the key position where she did an amazing move. An amazing move was played in this position that led to a winning combination. Yeah, winning combination in this position. So, what do you think here? It actually leads to a mate in 7 moves. I'm sure you can all see it right now, right?
Oh,
Of cou-
geez.
Mate
Of
in
course.
I know. That's pretty daunting. We'll just start with the first move. What do you think the first move is? A really good move in this position.
Queen to f5.
Queen to f5. Let's see here. Okay. All right. You're bringing the queen closer. You're not really threatening anything specifically. So, and there's no, you're not doing a check. So that means you're giving black a chance to start attacking your king.
Hmm.
Right? Your king is very exposed. So you do not want to give black a chance to start attacking your king. So no, we need something stronger than that. We cannot allow black to start attacking. Because this rook is ready to be activated. This rook and queen are pretty strong. So what do you think? Much better, much stronger move. What do you think?
Rook to f6.
Okay, so both rooks can go to f6. So which one do you mean?
Oh, I meant the bottom one.
So rook, we would say rook 1 to f6.
Rook
Yeah.
1 to f6.
Okay, good. Again, you're a threatening mate, but too slow because in this case, we're going to lose our queen to this fork.
Same thing.
Check. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll lose our queen, so that's no good. What else? So I'll give you a hint with this one. Remember I said white is Nezhmedinov, white is Harman, and Nezhmedinov was considered a brilliant sacrificial player. Okay? So That's a hint. Pretty big hint.
Queen takes G6.
Queen takes G6. So does that mean you can see the mate in 7? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Yes, Queen G6. So very powerful move. And of course, when you play this kind of move in a game, especially if it's a slow game, you really, you can't play with intuition, if you're very courageous and you really trust yourself. But it would be nice if you can actually envision all the variations out until mate, because you're giving away your queen after all, right? So queen takes G6 is the move. Very powerful move. Black has only one option. He must accept the queen sacrifice. So now we continue attacking. So what do you think next move is here? Remember, we just gave away a queen, so we got to be forceful and attacking.
Bishop to F5.
Nope, can't move the bishop.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Rook to F5, Rook 1 to F5.
Okay, well that wouldn't be a check though.
Oh, you're looking for a check.
Yeah, because again, if we don't do a check, then he's going to start attacking us, and we're done.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Okay.
So really, it's got to be a check. We just gave away our queen.
What about F6?
Okay, F6, good. But which rook? Both rooks can go to
Oh,
F6.
I'm sorry, F1.
Good. Rook 1 to F6. That's the correct move. Now it doesn't matter where the king moves. He can go G5 or H5. So let's say G5. Now we push the king back up. Now we need to push the king back up. Move the rook down, back down to F5. So we can go rook G7, and that would push the king here. The problem is we do not have a mate after that, right? What are we going to do? We can push this, then the king comes down here, and the king is kind of safe there. There's no mate. This rook is protecting the king, and now the rook and queen are ready to invade and completely destroy. Actually, this pawn is weak, so you got to be careful, So we need to push the king back. So put rook to F5, check, pushes the king back, and now we need to push the king back again. Rook 7 to F6, push the king back again. Okay, so now he's blocking his rook, so our bishop is no longer pinned, which is good. So now we continue the attack. So continue the attack. What do you think? So now we got the king locked in this. Oh, sorry, it's not the move. Now we got the king locked in this little box, right? Now we got to close the box. What do you think? So it's got to be an attacking move, right?
Rook 5 to HF.
So rook to H5, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Ye-
right. I'm sorry. HF. Right. Yes.
It's okay. It's okay. Rook to H5. Yes. Now we're pushing the king back to the G file. Okay, and then we push the king on G5. We go rook G5 check, and we push the king back. He's only got one move now. H7. Now, deliver the final blow. What is the final move here? What do you think?
Bishop to F5.
Bishop to F5 is mate, right? The rook is blocking. The king is blocking the rook. Bishop is no longer protected. White has successfully checkmated black with his 3 remaining pieces. Very beautiful checkmate there. And the rooks are cutting off all escape, right? And the bishop is delivering the final death blow. Beautiful game, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think it's a very nice game. So, yeah, this is the game when I think this is the one where she wins the Kentucky. Yeah, I think this is the one where she wins the Kentucky Championship, and Beltic, he starts clapping. Everyone starts clapping, right? Remember that scene? It's a pretty good scene. They all start clapping, and she's looking nervously, but yeah, very cool scene. So okay, so that's yeah, so that's that for today's lesson. And actually we even have two more. I even have two more positions, two more games to go over. So I think I have more material to do it again, a third Queen's Gambit. Are you guys interested? You want to do finish them next week?
Sure.
So yeah, I think next week is the last week, unfortunately. That's week 12. So yeah, we can finish off all these the last two games, and yeah. So yeah, can't believe it. All right, 12 weeks already. It's
Very fast.
so fast.
So Danilo, did you end up pausing the movie at all to look at the chessboard, or were you able to pick up?
Did I pause it? Wait, is that a serious question for me? Are you I paused it so much that I annoyed my mother-in-law. She was watching it when I was watching it, and she got so angry at me. I'm like, I'm a chess coach. What do you expect me to do? Just gloss over these chess positions? How can you expect me to? And I would pause it and say to my kids, all right, what's the best move here? Of course I paused it many times. I like paused it, went back a couple seconds. I'm like, oh shoot, I went back too far. Go back.
I feel so much better now.
You did it too?
Well, no. I felt like I couldn't see the board and I couldn't see what was happening because it was moving so quickly. So
true. Yeah, it was difficult. And you know what also made it difficult was the fact that you see here the numbers on the side of the board, so you can easily see the coordinates, right? Whereas in the series, all the boards were like wooden boards that didn't have any coordinates or numbers, right?
yeah.
So that made it kind of hard to figure out the orientation. But yeah, I think they could have used much better sets in the series, because I think the sets that they used were not really good tournament sets. That I think most people that are familiar with tournament chess, they would use in a real tournament. So I think they could have done better with that. But yeah, did I pause it? Definitely.
And Danilo,
Yeah.
your mother-in-law was upset.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you should expect a holiday gift from her.
I know, right? She said that she saw the entire series in one night. Did any of you do that? You binge watch the entire series in one night?
No.
Because I mean, I've heard some people did that. I'm not a binge watcher of stuff. You know, I just can't sit down for that long. I just feel like I gotta get up and, I don't know, be productive and do other things. I'm like, I gotta do stuff. But yeah, she loved it that much, so I'm sure she didn't pause it at all throughout the whole thing. You know, it's like an hour each. Was that like almost pretty much 7 hours of watching, right? Like, God.
Yeah.
It's like a full day's work. So yeah. All right, great. So good seeing you all. So hope you enjoyed that. We will see you again next week for the final class to finish up the games in the Queen's Gambit Netflix series.
Okay, great.
So yeah, great seeing you guys. So have a great night, and I'll see you again next week.
Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
All right,
Great class.
take care. Thank
Bye.
you.